Let's do some fan service to your fans here. What's your DPI, your sense, all that stuff?
Oh my god.
Go fast, go fast, go fast.
No, we're not doing it.
Okay, you're watching CEVO TV. I'm Cotton. This is Klops and Hiko. I gotta say that we're a bit relieved because I thought we might have one more technical hitch, but we're not. We're all smooth sailing. That means that this is the beginning of a best of 3 in the lower bracket, round 2. Exertus faces off against Manajuma. It's on DE Cash, and this is a knife round. Knife strats go. I saw you flank somebody the other day, man, and Spangler called you out on it.
I did.
Do people get do people get mad at you for that?
Nobody has said anything to me, so until somebody complains, it's gonna keep happening.
Almost. Oh, never mind. 2 on 2. Thought it was a done deal. Clutch this TM. Clutch this TM. There you go. Manajuma will select. And on an even map, I can't really tell you whether or not it's a really big deal. Oh, they're gonna switch.
Most maps, people like to take CT side first. It's just, I don't know if even in the maps that it's not necessarily the easier side, CT just seems to be the side where most teams like to play first.
Placebo? Maybe.
Placebo.
Yeah.
Well, now we'll see Exertus's, quick presence here on the C side, so we'll see how Manajuma deals with that. So.
And now you've gone just a little deep end off the quiet side.
Oh, no.
People are telling me they can't hear me at all in your stream, so I don't know what to do about that.
Oh, Well, we don't have an active onboard mixer when we're online, so maybe turn up your personal gain, and we'll see if that affects that at all. Otherwise, we can start toying around with the game volume and whatever. We're live, and we see a split heading toward a very slow, and this is, I suppose, a characteristic of Exertus. They'll walk in, and they probably won't use any smokes to cover up initially, and they hit a nice looking entry. XP3 does it. Desi's down. Shroud has to compensate. Nice. 3 shots is all it took. Then another 1 tap. He's looking good already. 3 in the sight, and a long shot from D-Born. 2 versus 4. It's really an unsubtle affair, right? They walk in without a whole lot of smoke and circumstance and pomp. They're just here. They walk in, it's a surprise, and it's a gunfight.
Yeah, I feel like, maybe once they got that initial kill, they probably could have charged into the site a little bit quicker because, that just gave the CTs a lot of time to get back and rotate over quickly. And obviously, Shroud hit 2 nice shots there, but he had help really, really fast right there.
They're down to a 1-on-2, and XP3 is stuck behind the back quad. He knows sort of where people are, and Manajuma certainly knows where he is, and they have no reason to push him because the bomb can't really be planted from that location. 45 seconds remain, and I was thinking about the alternatives to the sound. What I've done is I've turned my gain down just a little bit, and I know since we were tooling around with the sound earlier, maybe this will help. No good. The first round goes to Manajuma. Seems that they picked their side appropriately, and they win the round.
That was actually a pretty smart play that round by Shroud, just kind of turtling at the quad boxes and not dying. Because, as you guys said, because he didn't die, it forced XTS to actually not be able to push the site. They had to kill him first.
We have a call for a pause, and it looks like we got it. There we go. Never mind. I don't have to interrupt you anymore. Keep going.
So yeah, because Shroud was able to turtle the quad box, they weren't able to push up, but it gave all of Manajuma's time to rotate. By the time they actually were entering the site, they already had 4 guys there challenging them, entering the site. So
really impressive shots once he was in the door. Once they were out the door, I mean.
By the way, for since we're on a pause, if you want to try, you might want to increase your inbound volume on Skype. That might fix the volume issue.
Okay. Dangerous. That seems to be the most dangerous solution.
Just give it a little nudge.
I actually checked. I'm maxed right now. I can't increase it at all.
No, yeah, it's going to be on Cotton's side most likely.
Yep. Here we go. I'm scared. I'm scared. I tweaked it just a little bit.
I'll keep an eye on chat, but yeah.
Okay, so you guys are louder in my head, and therefore probably louder to the stream, but the moment that something blows up, I'm going to blame you. The same split. Exertus goes with the... You know what? I'm gonna stop here and say that at least it's not a throwaway eco round, because Exertus is known for this, or United 5 was known for this. Look at the stack inside the site. A headshot attempt by Desi is good. XP3's down. He calls out to his teammate that they are both back there, but they don't have the nades to find them. I guess it was a throwaway sort of eco. I guess I thought there was something more complicated happening, but it just was a split throwaway.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. If they're not going to have nades or smokes or flashes at all, then they might as well just stick together. There's no real reason to split out the door and the main. I mean, again, if they had a smoke and they could smoke off like the highway area, maybe the guy's door could get out and kind of flood the quad site area. But they didn't even make it out the door, and they just got mowed down.
The bottom line is that really there's so many more creative ways to handle that round. Even on cash, where creativity is maybe not the most important thing, there's so many ways to do that, and you can afford in CSGO to buy those utility nades.
Well, apparently not, because they did opt for the early buy this round.
Yes, they did. They did. Miniker has just realized that there are at least some rifles on the other side. He saw that tracer come through, and he heard the sound of a Galil. So he's moved back out of the connector, and the first engagement actually happens from the mid headshot box and spools all the way to the back of the quad at A. Mid control is mostly seized by Exertus, and they take their time because they haven't found a kill there. On the other side of the map, D-Born has Storm, and that really hurts because the bomb is actually at that location. Sprayed down by P90s, and Manajuma's taking this one. This force buy is really not up. The tables have turned instantly. Never mind, TM's the last, and he gets shot in the back. So Manajuma is taking Exertus a bit to school early on.
Yeah, and I mean, the force buy from Exertus really not too uncharacteristic of them. I mean, I think they do it pretty often lately. So I think you know, Manajuma was kind of expecting that, and they played it accurately. You know, they like you said, they saw they heard the one shot coming from mid, and you know, they immediately knew and adjusted appropriately to more defensive positions in mid, and just let Exertus come to them.
The sound thing is that we fixed your volume, but by increasing your volume, we've also drowned out the game volume, so I did some more adjusting, and hopefully we're at a happy medium now. 5 alive for Exertus, but 1 wounded, and then 1 finally dropped. The kid, or Miniker, has a triple, and he's looking for a quad already. He's still fighting, gets taken down, and Desi will come as a cleanup crew. Transfers his spray, good-looking shot, 4-0 for Manajuma.
For most teams that you see that go for the P250 buy, all 5 people on XTS had a P250 there, usually one person will have like a flash or a smoke. And that round, especially if one guy had a flash to flash for like over the spindle box in mid, they probably could have caught Miniker like blind and got a gun, but they just kind of tried to swarm him, and they got all killed.
Exertus is about to move to a concentrated B take, and they've turned on speed here. The pace of this strat is completely different than we've seen earlier in the rounds, and probably for the better. This is what they do excel at, and Miniker does excel at opping himself, so there's an exchange of strengths. An assist player comes up from the top of the heaven. Shroud sprays down into the smoke, hoping to find one of the last 2 players and turn this into a one-on-one, but the nade just sails just a little bit too far. Oh, we almost got that. 2 versus 1. And Shroud has to be our clutcher. He hears somebody running at the gen. Oh, and he just barely saw him. It just to emphasize how hard this is, I'm going to turn off X-ray for you guys, just so you know. We know the last time we saw them, one was at the generator, or the platform now, and one was lurking around the site, moving toward checkers, and then maybe pressing. One more reminder. This is a bind. Peeking out 2 ways. You can't win that battle. Exertus attacks on 1.
Yeah, you saw there, he thought someone was probably flanking him from the side there, didn't know that one guy was in checkers there, so that was a tough situation for him, even though the people on Exertus were at such low health. But I mean, you saw, like you said, you mentioned it, they changed up their speed in that round right there. You saw Warden burst out mid, get a quick kill with a flash that was thrown by one of his teammates, and yeah, I mean, it really helped change the round, and they were just able to take B as well. I thought that Opper, who was dug into the side, was actually going to be a problem for him because he did start getting kills, and it kind of slowed down Exertus's entrance, but they managed to keep it up.
We have us.
Actually, early something to notice on this round is Jumas is giving up mid completely. They have nobody even really looking at mid.
It's absolutely
Miniker
right.
is playing towards A, and XCS is actually pushing into spawn with it too, so smart play by them so far.
TM has made it into the Z along with teammate XP3, and XP3 waits for somebody to rotate across. That's the idea, but it seems that Manajuma knows. They've thrown a flash in. XP3 wasn't blind by it, but of course turning back around and getting his wherewithal back to him was too hard for him, and D-Born wins the battle. So the strat had some merit to it, but I think Manajuma seems to have sniffed it out just a bit. Flash.
Yeah, and even though they did get that, they are still committing to this and trying to take over that mid connector to CT spawn, which I don't know if that's definitely the right call after being found out by Manajuma right there.
How do you make that adjustment, Hiko? You get caught, your idea blows up in your face, you still have 4 grouped up together. Do you sort of exfil and go back to a spread?
Definitely. They knew they were all at the highway area. The guys at B cleared B. They heard them throwing flashes over there too. So I would have liked to see them fall back maybe completely and either go back to B or maybe execute late A. But staying mid, I mean, Jumas knew exactly where they all were.
Our fear as spectators this round is that Exertus has another throwaway eco round in them, and that's probably the last thing we want for them because they do need to start winning these rounds even though it's a tall order. And with Desi starting to lay waste to each and every one of Exertus' members, certainly it's not going to happen this round. Maybe if we see another eco round here. 6-1 is the lead. And another pause. Yeah.
Yeah. And just that last eco round, I mean, it looks like Exertus was going to try to take it slow and head over to A once again, but you saw that early push from Shroud. He was able to get all the information that they were bunched up there and, of course, on the eco, and then him and Desi were just able to pick these guys apart. So, I mean, nice change of pace, I guess, for Manajumas to go with that aggressive push just to change things up a bit on the A side.
Inside of Warden's head right now, I can hear him thinking, we should probably just start using speed every round. And that's a dangerous, dangerous way to play. But it did get them their 1 round thus far.
Yeah, if I had to guess what they'll do, they'll probably try to take mid again. And if they're giving no resistance, again, the CTs, then maybe that should quicken their mind. All right, look, they're not playing mid. Let's try to do like a quick B split. We'll go through the vent. We'll catch these guys in the back. And B should be a pretty easy place to take.
The match medic has broken. Miniker is being awarded 16k. We're going to do a manual single player fix, which is possible, but we do need the intervention of the ultimate admin, which I'm surprised. What is it that we had to do that the match medic went back to the last round? Did he drop in the middle of the last round?
Yeah, someone dropped, and it was Miniker actually. He dropped, and so they're just trying to get his money fixed here.
Okay. Okay. So you had the slide. Let's talk about the intangibles here. You have a veteran team, a mostly veteran team in Exertus, and they're talking to each other about, well, we've started out really badly. And how do we turn this one around? How do we manage our economy that we begin to build up the buffer, first of all, with our cash to win, and then turn it into round wins and results? And I'm actually gonna throw this to you, Clay, because I want to see if Hiko agrees with you.
Sorry, I was putting on a jacket there.
All right.
Well, I mean, they're going, like you said, they've been really taking it kind of slow so far in this game. I mean, we've seen some speed from him on a couple of rounds, but really not focusing too much on it. But honestly, I think it's going to be like Hiko said. I think they saw that mid. Manajuma wasn't really emphasizing too much control on mid, and I think they should start focusing more on there and seeing if that's going to be the case. And if Management keeps giving up, like Hiko said, then they could start working B with a B split or even, doing an A split. But so far going to A for him hasn't really been too successful due to Shroud and Desi holding down that site very successfully.
The count is 4,800. And what we can do, and this is sort of ghetto, but we could give him 16k, have him buy a bunch of P250s like that, throw them all in the corner.
No, and he still has 16k.
Bug found in Match Medic, end of world.
Drop to 4,800, please.
Yeah, he's just gonna have him buy guns till he gets to 4,800.
Buy a bunch of useless pistols. Keep buying. Keep buying.
The quick fix.
Problem solved. All right. So we've sort of pontificated on how to do this. It's just turn on the speed. Start making the fights messy. Have a support player close. Get ready to trade, because maybe those one-on-one battles are really not falling your way, but as long as you can make that mistake and have somebody there to support you, you can trade it out evenly. Maybe that works out for Exertus and they try to win some one-on-ones, some two-on-twos. When it's a 3-2 split that turns into a 5-on-5, Manajuma has looked just a little bit out of Exertus' class thus far.
Another thing we haven't really talked about is ops. Neither team has had an op yet, or even an auto sniper.
Minikurt did. Remember, on the B platform, he was doing a lot of work with it, but they lost that round.
Okay, that's true, yeah. I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, and of course, losing the op has some consequences to it, because it's expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah, once again, you see mid is empty. Minikurt goes there and just shows some fire, and I think just puts the sound bait there to let Exertus think that they're actually playing mid, but they drop him back early. A
couple rounds now, Exertus has just walked into the site, not opting to use their set smokes or set flashes. They catch a lot of players like Shroud moving around, not thinking that anybody was there. He gets caught out of place. It's suddenly a 3-on-3, a good play by them. 3 remain for the Manajuma squad. It's Dborn, Irakanji, and Minikurt. And the flank is on. Irakanji's found one. He's got to think that somebody's at the back quad, and XP3 was there waiting for him. He wins that battle, turns a beautiful shot onto Minikurt, and makes this a 1 versus 2. Dborn loses that battle. Exertus has the round. Look at that.
Nice play by XP3, peeking in and out there, getting those 2 nice headshots. Quad is one of the hardest spots to like get the kill at it, especially if like the terrorist never peeks after the bomb's planted. You have to push so close to even kill him. And Storm at the door, being able to cut off the whole left side of the quad. Really.
Yeah. At this level of play, at the invite/pro level, when you start seeing, look at the multiple boosts on top of mid, it may catch XP3 with a nade out. That's tragic, I suppose. Minikurt was ready for him. He got one of the 2 players that was boosted up over. So TM's still here, still fighting. Desi's close as a support, and that flash was just too deep for him. He's going to win this battle. But he took a couple of chest shots, and he dropped down to about 17. So the net trade is somewhat favorable for Exertus, who didn't totally win that one. If they bunch up here, it's probably the right call, and they'll try to face off a 3-on-2 at bomb site B and let the A players be in their own silo away from the action. First shot's good. Warden's in. He probably thinks that somebody's on the back of the platform. It's Minikurt. He has his op, the one that we thought he didn't have earlier. He's dead. The generator. Storm doesn't see him. Finally does. And above him brings him down. So 2 versus 2. The bomb plant goes down. Desi's waiting, and that box is spammable, so Storm knows, moves himself out of the way, and makes it a +1 for him. Shroud's the last. And he has a nade kill. 1-on-1 with Storm. The bomb ticks, and the reactions of Storm, or the predictive powers of Storm, are just too good. 6-3.
That was a good 3v2 take onto B right there, and you see, I mean, they saw how easily they pretty much took it with Warden coming through the vents right there, and I mean, if they just connect that with the fact that Manajuma's really isn't putting too much control on mid, they could do that more. One thing I also noticed though, that round Moses did have a Molotov, and I was thinking they could have used that probably to get into B a little bit easier. Maybe they wouldn't have lost a man to that opera on the platform, but. I don't know. Do you need 2 to get that platform full to have it be effective, Hiko, or can 1 do the job?
1 will definitely clear out half of the site, so it definitely makes a difference. Another thing that last round that I don't think people saw was Shroud actually had a 5-7 and Minikurt had an off. He could have dropped Shroud instead of buying the off, but he didn't.
That's very true, and maybe it was a mistake. Either way, Exertus' win has significance to it, because we forced an eco round that we just now bring up because we were thinking about the previous round. Desi's pushed all the way through. He can hear the op and see the feet as he's falling. Claims XP3 doesn't pick up the gun, thinking that somebody's there ready to trade him, but he could have gotten away with it, and easily. Do you think he's going to go back for that one? The round is going to end, and it doesn't matter. Desi's got an op. Shroud's got a Galil. Good eco win.
That hurts XTS so much too. They finally were able to put together a round. It ended up in a 1v1, so they were already low on money for that round. And losing that eco just completely destroyed their economy. Their money is hurting very much, so you see they're ecoing.
So Exertus, we're still waiting on you to have... Oh no. Warden just got stabbed in the back. We're still waiting on you, Exertus, to have an eco strat. And that doesn't really count. Waiting on a long distance M4 Glock fight is not a good way to start. It's just the firing squad now. Storm's got to do the impossible P250 versus 5 full health CTs, and he can start like this. That's a pretty good looking shot. If he goes to claim the gun, surely he's going to get shot. Shroud is waiting for him, and though he struggled with the first burst, he got the second one. You saw him in the distance flick his gun up, being like, I can't hit him, but he finally did. 8-3.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't another eco round for Exertus, and we saw, they went for that quick push once again, and that could be they are aware of the economy. Let me ask you, Hiko, as a player, because we like to think that the teams are very aware of players' economies and can almost tell, or it should be able to, I guess assume when people are on it. How is it? I mean, can you guys track eco rounds pretty easily?
Oh yeah. I mean, the only things that catch you off guard sometimes is like the early buys, but
It's the split, a vent and horseshoe split that falls horribly apart for Exertus. That leaves XP3 by himself. He's going to walk into an op crosshair right there, and the gun drop gave him away. Manajuma leads by 6. I gotta say that two things have worked thus far: speed, and that round speed really didn't work. But the other thing was the no smoke, no flash entrance into either site. Both of those things, to me, are things that are sort of gimmick plays that only win you 3-4 rounds total and a half. They're going to have to find a couple of more traditional offensive plays and win those rounds. I think the half, the way that the economy is sort of skewed now, it's too late to start that.
yeah, they definitely are dug themselves a hole now. For them to buy every round, every time they buy, they're not going to have full nades unless they double save, and they're not going to double save because they're down so much.
Yeah, an eco round here. Exertus is trying to play the long pick games with P250s and Glocks, and thus far Miniker and Shroud are winning those battles. Storm's been in this situation before. Same gun, same everything, and he faced off against Shroud last time too, so let's see if he wins this one. He's waiting by a big box, A main. There's no gun in his reach. Still, the entire Manajuma squad gives him a lot of respect. Nobody's pushing him, not until right now. And they found him. So now everybody on the minimap that you can see is rotating toward him. It doesn't matter. Manajuma has 10. And they look really, really prepared today.
Yeah, they are looking good. And I mean, honestly, I like we said, I just feel like, one of the reasons that they're having trouble here is just the lack of trying to take mid for the most part, which, I mean, honestly hasn't really been guarded for them that much. You see Miniker now does have an op and a nice bank built up where he can keep buying ops, and he's only really been watching mid whenever he's had an op for the most part, so they've had plenty of opportunities.
Warden is playing some sort of aggro, well, he was supposed to play some sort of aggro lurk, and Miniker was waiting for him to pass across the horseshoe. He did, he got picked, and nobody else is over there. So if they overload this site and they realize that he was just the only player there, the rotates are on, and they're all going to flood backward to rotate back across toward A. And this, I feel like, and Hiko validate this if you feel the same way, that if they get that information, this strat is already doomed.
100%.
100%.
Having no map control, they know you're all at the other side of the map, and they're going to rotate for it. And looks like they actually, XTS made the smarter play this time of not just going so fast. They're letting XTS kind of, or Jumas roam the map instead of just rushing A, which would have been very obvious to them.
Yeah. Making that heads-up play, not walking into the trap of giving up the map control, for example, is allowing Exertus to move across, maybe find an early pick, and then move to take an opposite site or go back. But with the entire CT squad now spread back out as if the round had just started, it comes to probably a zero-sum, or just -1 if you want to play literal games. They're going to move into bomb site B. The bomb carrier is Moses, the number 7. He's waiting probably for an assist. Oh, he will be the support, throwing a flash to the checkers and then a smoke for himself to block off the CT main. And the wrap is in. Still no effect. Behind the box, Irakanji is at the oldest hiding spot in the book when it comes to DE cash. Right there in the checkers. Manajuma clinches that one, and it makes it look so easy.
It's actually one of the ways that XCS is playing this map, because they're playing like the kind of run and gun kind of style. They're not throwing that many smokes and flashes anywhere, as we talked about earlier. They're not really throwing molotovs on the executes. So the whole half is coming down to out angling and out shooting each other. And so far, pretty much every battle that either team has been in, Jumas has came out ahead.
What do you do to switch the game plan? I can't outshoot these players. How do I combat that?
You start doing more set strategies, more set executes, and unfortunately for XCS, they probably don't have them. So they're kind of out of their element at this point.
Yeah, it seems as if they were hoping to get ahead a little bit early. You can kind of tell by the sort of the self-fulfilling statement that Hiko just said. Warden just went crouch peeking head-to-head with an op because he didn't have a better idea than that. 2 versus 3, it's still a winnable situation for Exertus, but the way the momentum has flowed thus far in the game, you can only feel that Manajuma, well, it's just a matter of time. Oh, never mind. 2 taps. Storm has a beautiful looking shot there. Smoke for that cross. Never mind. Double flashes. It's going to be 1 versus 2. Desi versus Storm comes out as the MVP of that round with a triple and an essential 4th round to make sure that the pistols aren't the determining factor of the second half. We'll end that one. So you're watching CEVO TV again. I am Cotton, and with me is Hiko of Complexity and my partner, as usual, Klops. Your thoughts on the half, either of you?
I honestly expected more from Exertus. I mean, they picked this map, and, you know, like Hiko said, if you can't outshoot the other team, then you got to rely on set strats, and, you know, it just seemed like they didn't have that in their bag of tricks, like Hiko said, and I feel like, you know, if you pick a map, then you should have strategies, and you should you know that map like the back of your hand and be able to perform.
I just pulled up the stat sheet to show how well Shroud is playing. His average damage dealt is like more than double the CT average, and he is like a head above the rest of his team's average. He's being a beast right now.
You can already tell just from the very first round. Jumas is taking it slow. They're playing it methodically. Just kind of a testament to their team compared to the way XCS played first half.
We have a squeaky door waiting here, and Exertus plays it very straight up, 2-1-2, and they're going to have everybody flooding out of A very quickly. No bomb is in tow, by the way, and I think this is designed to get people to move across the map and maybe get a pick or just have a rotator declare at one side or another. And I think Manajuma they're slowly whittling away at the health of Exertus. They've all taken critical damage, and this is not how the strat's probably supposed to work, but they'll take it. I'm certain they'll take it. There's the first kill of the round. Shroud has dropped TM, and maybe the next might be Moses. Surgical removal of each and every Exertus player. Really impressive working, team working. And a flank, an impressive flank to join it. This might be a triple if Irakanji keeps going. Deborn says no joy. There's 12-4, and I think out of all the rounds we've seen thus far, that was probably the one that stood out to me as that was impressive. That was good.
I don't know if you actually caught it, but Irakanji actually bought 2 P250s for Shroud and Miniker and got a flash as well. So Shroud and Miniker both had P250 body armor going into that pistol round. So both of them were playing pretty, like, not aggressive, but they were playing spotty. They were spotting up cracks and different places on the map and challenging. And they actually headshotted 2 people before anyone was even close to executing anything.
Desi drops with a double headshot. Yes, and I did notice that, and I didn't point it out. It's very, very akin to how we used to see that Deagle buy armor buy with 1.6 teams. I wanted to point it out, and I forgot to. Thank you for that. That actually was true. They did play very cagey like that, and it probably.
I think you meant to say USP buy, not Deagle.
In 1.6, well,
yeah,
for
on pistol round, on T side especially, the T's would buy USPs for somebody and drop armor, and that guy would buy armor.
Yeah, okay. For me, I played it. Huh?
If you find me a match where somebody drops a Deagle on pistol round to another player to get armor, I would be very surprised.
I bet I could go back in the old archives and find like a 3D like Green Beret match or something where you saw that. But of course, they were sort of a low team.
That was GB James. We don't talk about GB James on the stream.
Okay. But to that effect, you're right. That pistol round, the way that they played spotty, like you said, the terminology that you used, afforded them a lot of comfort, as long as they didn't get shot in the face, to spot out. And I think that was very, very good. Now, back in the moment, we have Exertus now surrounding the site. We had Warden down in the trash heap low and still winning the battle with the Famas turning to the checkers and not seeing Desi just quick enough. 4 versus 2 after that quick kill. Desi and the kid, Miniker, are left. Battle lost, and that leaves just the Opera, Miniker, who is finally taking down Exertus. For the literal now standpoint, they've stopped the bleeding, but they've got a huge hill to climb.
They went for the early round buy once again, and this time it netted him around, and actually an op, because you saw Manajuma has picked up an op for that 3rd round, and yeah, now it's in the hands of Exertus here. And I mean, oh man, I feel like I'm thinking back to our casting history of U5 and Exertus, and I feel like they constantly go for the early round buy every time, honestly. And I just want to ask Hiko, I mean, is that something that you guys know about them, that they always go for that? Is that something you're always expecting from these guys?
I feel like older players always do that because that's what they did in 1.6, especially towards the end. Definitely a team like my team and XCS are both known for buying early. So I think Juma's probably expected it, and you know they didn't upgrade their guns accordingly, and now they can buy this round as well.
This round happens to be, and I'll show the cash to the audience right now, a very critical round. This determines who goes on to the slide into the eco and who begins to, of course, build their economy. So this one, and it's too early to say, this one could be a turning point for Exertus, one of many turning points if they continue to experience success. Look at the bomb as it moves back toward the spawn. It's going to join the horseshoe player, that 5-man Miniger who's holding with his PC-50, and this distraction force at A is just going to play at the doors and not come all, or they will come all the way out. If the communications aren't crisp and Exertus calls for the full retake, they're going to make a mistake here. It looks like Storm was ready, and it looks like Warden was ready. The bomb is dropped, and the entire team of Exertus is moving their way back toward bombsite B to join their teammates with the drop bomb. 3 versus 3, and Shroud waiting, catches Moses and XP3 on the rotate. They had to have known that was going to happen, and Irakanji, well, he knew Storm was going to be there. Surprising that Storm wasn't looking for the flank already because of the fast rotate.
Yeah, that's actually kind of surprising. If you would have asked me once XTS got the bomb down in B, who would win the round, I probably would have told you 90% XTS wins it. But Shroud in that event was able to just kill 2 people in mid, and I think Drew killed a guy towards like A side. So it just it really was unfortunate for XTS, and now their money is really hurting for the rest of this half.
Yeah, it was actually, to me, from what I saw, it looked like a simultaneous entrance on A and B at the same time, where they had the 3 people at A, and I don't think it was an intentional fake sell. I was thinking maybe well, it's kind of dumb to say they wanted the bomb to drop, but the bomb dropped, and then it kind of worked out for them because they were able to just get the rotators as they were trying to get over to B to get the defense down there.
The math works. 3 at a site, typically you'll get 2, right? And 2 at a site, you'll typically get a 2 versus 2. So if there's somebody at mid, then yeah, that does make sense. Still, it was a lot of missed opportunities as the rotators got killed, as Irakanji came flanking. Here's a shot from D-Born, and it looks pretty good. Gonna let the entire entry force at A do their work while Shroud looks on, and still 1 player at the white truck. 2 left for Exertus. They're just sitting. There's a FAMAS to be saved, but at this, with this scoreline, I can't really. Never mind. They're not even gonna get a chance to. Firing squad approaches. Storm and Warden go down. 15-5. We're onto the match point already.
Kind of surprising that Storm and Warden wouldn't just save their guns there. They would just opt to fight and lose their guns going into the last round. Not the smartest idea by any means. I mean, those 2 guns could mean those guns could mean a round win right here. They could keep, the momentum could swing. Just a single round.
I ask Clay this a lot, Hiko. It's when you see this scoreline, 14-5, 15-5, whatever, does your team, just complexity, do they zone out and prepare for the next map, or do you play for the epic comeback? Or is this really happening? Okay, that scared me for a second.
You definitely play for the comeback.
Okay.
I'll tell a story after this is over, but
sure. 2 versus 2. The bomb moves up middle by itself, not supported by the number 2 player, Shroud. That kill is going to find a good entry for bombsite A, and that leaves Storm to fight versus 2, and this could end the map. So let's find out whether or not there's one more classic moment for Storm. We've seen a couple already this season, and he almost got caught. He doesn't control his rifle just enough. Manajuma wins at 16-5, and that means we move on